Alrighty, and then we'll go ahead and start with our alumni introduction. So I know plenty of our alum are here right now. I can go ahead and pick, the first alum I see on my screen, and then we can go around. Maybe if y'all don't mind popcorning to each other, since I know some of you are familiar with each other, and that'll just help it, flow. I'm going to go ahead and pick on Rod Rossetti. If you don't mind starting out with introducing yourself. You can just say your name, what you'll be talking about today in your breakout room, so your professional portion, your grad year, and maybe like where you're at today, since we're all coming from different locations.
Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up? Yeah? All right, cool. I'm Rod Rossetti, the other Rod that I went to school with Dr. Rod Magwal. Graduated class of 2001 winter under CNAS, general biology. Right now, currently residing in the Bay Area, San Jose. So I went back to my roots. Pretty much I've been jumping around several big biopharmaceutical companies ever since I left UCR. Decided to not, probably gonna be the few, but not pursue any higher degree. As soon as I started working, and work experience kind of took me into different directions. So in my breakout room, I'll be talking about that. And that's it.
After Rod, I'll go ahead and pick then. Bea, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Bea Portez, and I recently just graduated this past 2020. And today I'll be in the breakout room talking about grad school and the process and how I got here today. And currently I'm in Montclair, where my school is. Yeah.
Alrighty, I'll go ahead and pass it to Marisa. And if you're okay with it, if you don't mind popcorning it to someone after you, okay?
Which Marisa do you want?
I'm so sorry, Marisa Patterson. I saw your face first.
Okay, no problem. Hi, everyone. I just want to take a quick moment to shout out Cameron, because without her, none of this would have happened. And I said it last night, and I'll say it again. To do this in such an unprecedented time, Cameron, young queen, you're amazing. Thank you for getting all of us together, and doing your midterms and being a full-time student. I appreciate you so much, and I see you, queen. Good job. I am Marisa Patterson. I graduated in 2002. I am going to be in the education room. Oh, my pronouns are she and her. I am currently in Claremont, California. And I think that's all you needed to know about me, right? And I'll be talking a little bit in the keynote. I'm going to go ahead and popcorn it to, let's see, to my new friend, Jerome.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Jerome Lim. I graduated from UCR in 2013 with a BS in mechanical engineering. I currently, my pronouns are he and him. I currently work at Aerojet Rocketdyne, and I reside in the San Fernando Valley in Encino. Yeah, and now in my breakout room, I'll talk about how I got to my position right now and where how that led up. And I think I'll pass it over to Jay Tina.
Hey guys, morning. My name is Jay Tina. Graduated in class of 2004, almost 2005. But anyways, I got a VS in comp sci. Excuse me, sorry, my kids might be running around here. But anyways, I'll just be talking about my journey through that whole, finishing computer science, starting off as an engineer, and now leading up to my leadership role. So, and then answering any questions you guys might have. I will pass it over to Miss Josel.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Josel Sacramento, class of 2004, majored in ethnic studies and sociology. I was also a treasurer of Katipunan in 2002, and I later got my PhD, and now I'm a professor of ethnic studies at Cal State East Bay, and I'll be in the education room. So if you have questions about teaching, or if you want to go to grad school, I'll be talking a little bit about that. And I will pass it on to my other 2004 graduate, Miss Catherine Koo Rivera, Mrs. Catherine Koo Rivera.
Woo woo. Also known as Cooter. Thank you. So hi everyone. I am class of 2004. I was a BA undergrad, Poli-Sci Law and Society, and I minored in Asian American Studies. I did get my MBA as well. I'll be in the high-tech business room with Christian Baez, and I'll be talking to you a little bit about my experience in working for a high-tech company, working in the legal department, process and what work I do related to process improvement, transformational programs, as well as work related to the diversity, equality, and inclusion space, DEI space, because I am also a founder and global leader of our newly formed Asian-centered resource group at work, and also our women's leadership group. So come join us if you want to hear about these experiences and learn a little bit about what the high-tech space is like. I'm going to popcorn over to Trish. Oh no, to close out our 2004, I think we have another 2004 grad on, Joanne Michaels, I think you're on.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Joanne Michaels, formerly known as Thompson back in the Katipunan days. I'm class of 2004, graduated with BA in psychology. I'm currently a social worker. I have my license in clinical social work, and I am managing a team at a local school district for mental health and wellness. So if you're interested in going into the mental health field, being a practitioner and doing the good work, come into our breakout room. There are 3 of us there as social work practitioners, which is really cool to see. And we can give you some guidance around what that looks like through the grad process, as well as the professional lens. So hope to see you there, and happy to be here. I'm gonna pass the mic to, I'm trying to see who. Oh, I know you, Melody. Familiar face. Go for it.
Sure. Thanks, Joanne. I'm the only Melody, right? I think so. All right, so my name is Melody Pedralvez Bohm. It was Pedralvez when I was there at UC Riverside. Class of 2001, undergrad in business administration, pronoun she and her. I'll be in the healthcare Kaiser room. I'm currently a regional director for Southern California Permanente Medical Group, as you all might know as Kaiser Permanente. In my room, I will be with Dr. Ning. We both work for Kaiser. In my role at the regional level, I actually work with a lot of the physicians in optimizing spaces within the clinic space. So I have a team of clinicians and non-clinicians optimizing workflows across Southern California and across the nation for Kaiser Permanente and other regions. I was a business undergrad, but transitioned to healthcare as my family's full of nurses and doctors, as probably all of yours are. So that transition from business to healthcare and kind of the blend of that is something I will be talking about as well. Thank you. And I will go to Dr. Rod.
Thanks, DJ Melody. My name is Dr. Rod Das Magboal, graduated in 2000. I was a former external vice president twice, and then president my graduating year in 99-2000. I woke up this morning, man, I was hella excited. And the reason being is because, you know, I grew up in Riverside, and I went to school, high school in Riverside, UCR. So it gives me the chance to go back home without leaving my home. Currently, I'm doing hella stuff. I graduated liberal studies. And I'll share a little bit more in our.
You said hella.
My room. I know, hella. I know, right? Thanks, Rodney. But it was like, oh, here we go. So I couldn't decide on career paths, so I decided to take a bunch of career paths. So I'm instructor professor at Skyline College, where I teach Filipino American Studies and also ethnic studies, hip hop, learning community, and all that stuff. I'm an executive director for an award-winning ethnic studies program called Pinoy Pinay Educational Partnerships, and I am the current vice mayor for the city of Daly City. So if y'all want to come to our room, I know it sounds like politics, but we're just gonna talk story and just shoot the shit, y'all. Like, oh, can I cuss? Okay. But yeah, I had a great time at UCR. It was one of the most transforming times I ever had in my life. You know, I'm APSP through and through. Katipunan, been involved from when I was in high school. So I'm honored to be here, and I'll pass the mic to my better half, Dr. Arlene Das-Magbual.
Thanks, Rod. What's up, everybody? My name is Dr. Arlene Das-Magbual. I'm his wife, not his sister. I'm just kidding. Everyone always makes like, they're like, are you guys related somehow? Yeah, he's my husband. So if you're gonna kick it with us in our room, I know there wasn't a description on mine in the brochure, but I'm gonna just tell you what I do right now. Rod and I have been organizing since Riverside, since we were high school students in APSP, and we're still doing it now that, you know, we're 42 years old. So I got my degree in poli-sci in 2000, and you know how it is, you just wanna be a lawyer, and then I'll talk about how that didn't pan out, right? But politics is the core to everything that I do. I am a director for Pinoy Pinay Educational Partnerships for the past 19 years here in San Francisco. I'm a founding director for kind of APSP's counterpart in San Francisco State University. So I founded the Asian American and Pacific Islander Student Services, and I'm the director there. So I do higher education as well. I'm also a commissioner for Daly City's Arts and Culture Commission, and I am also a faculty lecturer in Asian American Studies teaching oral communication, and I have 2 children. So you wonder how Rod and I both do everything all at once. We'll tell you if you come join us at the politics group later on. So it's been years and years of organizing communities from Riverside to LA to the Bay. And I feel like we're California wide when it comes to like getting our communities together. So it's so good to be back at UC Riverside with you all. Get to see some familiar faces. So with that, I'm gonna pass it to, and I don't see anybody from the year 2000, folks. Like, I can't be like Joselle and then be like 2004. I don't know who to pass it to. Who? Jeff Aquino. Oh, he's older than me. What's up, Jeff Aquino? You here?
Thank you for pointing that out, Dr. Arlene. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Aquino, class of 1998. I graduated with a degree in psychology and a minor in political science. I always tell people that I majored in manipulation and minored in persuasion, because that's what I tended to get the most out of it. I am currently an academic advisor for Long Beach State University. While I was at UCR, I was dorm rep, public relations, and then I was also the cultural coordinator in 98. And then after I graduated, I was actually the program coordinator for Asian Pacific student programs. And so I was pretty much at UCR for a pretty good period of time, where even after I graduated, I kind of stayed on to help out a lot. And so, and then I'll be talking about history of PCN. Yeah, I see all the comments. Rod Rossetti was my roommate. So, and then, you know, and then I see a bunch of others who we're calling me boss right now too. But yeah, but it's good to see everybody, and I'm glad to be here. Sure, I forgot to popcorn it. I will popcorn it to, did Ryan go? Ryan, did you go? Gagahena? Did you go already?
Not yet. I guess I'll go. Good morning, fellow alumni and also current students of UCR. My name is Ryan Gigahena, and I basically was at UC Riverside from 90 to 94. And I was at I was involved with PCN and the Katipunan organization all 4 years. I was a writer for them for our skits from 93 to 94, and also I guess back then it was a PCN chair from 94. I'll be talking about PCN history. We have some, hopefully one of our alumni will join us by then. Dr. Anna, she was there at the very first PCN, I think, 1988. So it's going to be some interesting stuff there of how we got started. Currently, I reside in Torrance, California. My major was environmental science, and then right after college, I went to actually teach in the Philippines, environmental science, school named Ateneo, and then came back here, worked for 12 years as environmental specialist, and then 2012, well, during that time, I actually had a side business, which was selling on stuff online, and since 2012, I have a company, and it's a web design company that currently employs Filipinos in the Philippines too, as well here. So I have two kids, one 12, one 13, one 16, married to a Filipino nurse as well. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having us here. And I'll be, I guess in my era there, I think I see Dr. Teresa Ng, maybe. Can you get on?
Hello. I'm not on mute like last night, am I? Okay. I'm Tracy Nang in the Philippines, and I was with Ryan from 1990 to 94-ish, a little bit into 95. So that's why I met Jeff Aquino. And I was a BA of psychobiology and was part of PCN, FSU, SKIT from my sophomore year till my senior year. And after that, went to the Philippines right away and went to med school at St. Luke's College of Medicine from 1995 to 2000. Came back here to Southern California, worked on the board exams, and then went to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and did a family practice residency. And then 2006 until now, work at Kaiser Permanente as a primary care physician here in Orange County, California, at the Yorba Linda offices. And I have been assistant physician in charge of my building. And I also got a board certification. Other than family medicine, I have a board certification in obesity medicine since 2016. So I am currently the weight management lead of Orange County Kaiser Permanente. And what else are we supposed to say? I came in Filipino time, so I don't know. Is there anything else? That's all about me. I'll popcorn it back to Jen Jakar. Did she go already? Or Sugar, whatever. What's your last name again?
It's
I know, I saw you.
Thanks, Tracy. I'm Jen Sugar, Jen Jakar, and when back in the day, graduated in 95 with a degree in economics. When I joined Katipunan and was chair of PCN, gosh, that was so long ago. I think we're the oldest people here, Tracy. Maybe Ryan. Anyway, graduated. There was a controversy between calling it FSU versus PSU. Remember that? Anyway, after graduation, I worked at several different places, landed at ADP in operations management. I got married, had a couple of kids, then actually started my own business, did that for 12 years, logistics brokering. Legislation changed, and I kept in touch with my old boss who hired me back at ADP, and I'm currently a relationship manager there. So financial tech. I'll be in the PCN history room, and that's it. And I didn't see anybody else I recognize. So any other alumni who hasn't gone yet, just jump in.
Christian Baez, are you trying to volunteer?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Christian Baez, coming to you from the traditional territory.
We just lost you.
Lost your audio, yeah.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, he said come back to me, so we'll just move on to the next alumni.
Let's see. I'll go ahead and pick on John Tomas.
Yeah, I could go. Hey, everybody. My name is John Tomase. I graduated in 2018 and I studied bioengineering. Currently, I am working at Amgen, which is a biopharmaceutical company, as a upstream manufacturing associate. So I make drugs and medicine. And right now, I'm currently living in Burbank, California, and I'm from Eagle Rock. If anyone knows where that is.
Alrighty, and I saw Rex said that he hasn't gone yet.
You guys hear me okay? Yeah. No, okay, cool. Hi, everybody. My name is Rex Octomato. I come from a small city called California. I went to UCR from 2005 to 2010. My last year, my senior year of case, which is sorry for another time, but basically I finished in 2010. Throughout my time at UCR, I was involved in activities of my career. My second year, I held a company position as an alumni liaison. And then my senior year, I was the coaching coordinator. I now reside in Los Angeles, California, but I work in Delaware, California. I work as a project manager, so I'm working remotely nowadays. Prior to that, I was a scientist with Bangladesh. My specialty and expertise is in cell technology. So if you've heard of CRISPR, Cas9, or genome editing, that's what I do. Currently, right now, I help scientists enhance and do their research through a company technology project. So basically, any scientist or researcher who has to do some type of research, but they don't have the technology or the expertise. So we have to do that. I don't have any company I work with, but they're scientific, so it's going to be big biotech companies in not only in Southern California, but globally, like 70,000 employees globally. So in my breakout room and scientific research, I'll be talking about my experiences getting to the point where I am right now, and the advice that I've had into the biotech field. And then I'll put it back to Christian.
Hey, Rex, just letting you know you were a little muffled, so you might need to do that again through the chat somehow. But can you hear me this time, Cameron? Thumbs up? Okay, awesome, thanks. Hi again, part two, everyone. My name is Christian Baez. I'm coming to you again from the traditional territories of the nations of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, AKA Toronto, Canada. Yes, it is a lovely, warm 16 degrees here today. Class of 2008, BA in political science. I was a dorm rep my first year, second year was social chair, and then president my fourth year. And I'd like to say that I'm very proud of participating in the Katipunan experience program my senior year of high school, which pretty much solidified my decision to go to UCR instead of going to school in Bay Area. Currently work as in-house corporate lawyer for Mondelez International. We're a multinational snack food manufacturer based in Chicago, but again, I'm in Toronto. And I work as counsel for global marketing and media, and I'll be partnering with Takuder during the biz and high tech portion of the breakout room. So come join us, come learn about snack foods. I can tell you about them. And with that said, I will pass it to, I think Teresa's on here, who is the Eponine to my Marius. That's a Les Mis reference. I'll pass it to Teresa Navarro.
Hi, how are you? My name is Teresa. I go by she, they, sha. I am currently was born and raised and settled here on Muwekma Ohlone lands and what is now the East Bay. 510 represent from the Bay Area, hella high. I went to Riverside in 2005. I graduated 2005, BA in History and Ethnic Studies. And then I have since then been working in film and television, specifically independent film. I believe storytelling is an act of resistance and cultural survival. And so the work that I do is really centered around the voices and the perspectives of folks who identify as queer, immigrant, other, she, gender fluid, folks who just haven't had the resources or the ability or the, like the people whose stories need to be told from themselves and not from other. And so that's what I've been doing for the past 10, 15 years. Working in film festivals, working on productions, and now working on a documentary series on PBS. So I'll be in the film and TV breakout room with Patty Esquire. I don't know if she's on here yet. Went to UH Manoa for grad school in American Studies, really looking at narratives and power, identity, culture, community, and have been based in New York on Lenape land for the last 10 years. Had 2 kids and then came back to the Bay, where I can be closer to my family and my folks and my community. So happy to chat more about what it looks like to be a storyteller, be a creator, and still hold true to who you are and be down for your community and have all that be part of your praxis, and get paid, because you can actually have a career with an ethnic studies degree. All right, I'm gonna pass it along to Dr. Giselle Sack. Did you go already? Who taught me everything I needed to know.
I already went.
I was about to say, I was like, because she was my Muslim sweet homie with the facials. Was a PCN culture chair my last year, and a RA in East Lothian my second year. So I don't know who needs to go next, but I'll let Cameron kick it off.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pick the next one. So I made a list in the group, what am I trying to say? The chat. So I'll go ahead and pick, I believe it was Ryan who messaged me and said he's good to go. And then you can just popcorn that list of names that I have there, Ryan.
Sure, awesome. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ryan Delusug. I go by he, him pronouns, and I currently live in Orange County and work in Orange County as a licensed clinical social worker at Providence Mission Hospital. I graduated class of 2011, and I was academics chair and secretary during my time at Katipunan. As a licensed clinical social worker, I work in the hospital at the outpatient services. So I work with adolescents and their families that struggle with mental health issues. And I also have a private practice seeing individuals and families. Our breakout room is going to focus on social services and mental health. So if you're interested in coming and learning more about that, just the different aspects of social work, as well as maybe the different areas of therapy, we'll be happy to have you. Thank you. Oh, and I guess we'll have Albert Sosa next.
Hey everyone. So I don't have as much experience as a lot of the alumni here. I'm a recent grad of 2018. I graduated with statistics, and currently I'm a data analyst for a software company based in Irvine. My past experiences, I'll be talking in the computer science room. Prior to this, I was a data engineer, and I also do some statistical work on the side. I will pass it on to Ashlyn.
Hi everybody, I'm Ashlyn Reyes, pronouns she, her. I graduated class of 2018 as well. I graduated with a BA in English, and right now I am in grad school for a Master of Arts in Teaching, and I am dual credentialing in mild to moderate special education and English. And I will pass it on to my ate, Marisa.
Thank you, Auding. Hi, everyone. My name is Marisa, and let me see what I have to say. So I graduated same 2018, and I got my bachelor's in psychology and ethnic studies. And I took 2 years off, and I focused a lot on work with like trauma populations. So I worked at the suicide hotline, and I worked at the Riverside Area Rape Crisis Center. And I'm currently still in Riverside, and currently I am in school again, in grad school at UCLA for my master's in social welfare. And I graduate next year. And yeah, I'll be in the mental health, psych, social work room. And I'll mostly be focusing on, I guess, kind of like applying to grad school and just that jumping stone and because there's a lot of avenues for entering the mental health field. And I know when I was an undergrad, I was really confused about which route I wanted to take, whether it was grad school, master's, whether it was a PhD. There's, you know, you can enter it in the psychology realm, you can enter it in the social work realm. So I was going to focus on that mostly just to kind of clarify and help people choose potentially the route that they want to do to enter mental health. Yeah, and I will popcorn it to Jared.
Morning, everyone. My name is Jared Kristabal. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces in the room today. I was last year's sports chair for Kati. It was a good year for us for friendship games. Currently, I graduated from UCR last year, 2020, with a degree in bioengineering. Currently, I'm at KGI, Keck Graduate Institute in Claremont, pursuing my Master's of Engineering in Biopharmaceutical Processing. And today I'll be in the breakout rooms for grad school in bioengineering, where we'll talk about the process and different routes for each of those rooms. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you so much. So as y'all can see, we have a lot of alum here today. And I don't know about y'all, but it was really cool just hearing everyone's, you know, experiences, you know, hearing where they're from and seeing how, although we're online, we can take advantage of, you know, being able to bring together such a large group of people. So, you know, no matter where you are, no matter what time zone you're in, you know, I'm glad you could be here with us today. And I'm sure, like I said before, like this will be a really productive conference, and I'm excited for everyone who is here today. Before we proceed, I do want to mention to our attendees. So if you're a member of Kati currently, I'm sorry, alum, I just need them to go ahead and sign in through this sign-in sheet. I'm linking it right now if you haven't already, you know, checked in with us. So I just wanted to put that link there. And I do want to say thank you everyone for bearing with us. You know, we have a lot of alum here and it's just great hearing them. So it's already 10:40, but we'll go ahead and I'd like to introduce our first keynote speaker, Marisa Patterson. So yeah.
All right. Thank you, Cam. Can I go ahead and share my screen? Does that work? All right. Well, first of all, I'm going to quickly just kind of go through because I don't see Hey, Carla. Hey, BB. I just want to look at all your faces because it's so different. So if you just bear with me because I'm just like looking and trying to make eye contact with you, even though y'all don't know who I am. I'm just trying because I'm just trying to certify this vibe. Yes, go ahead, Cam.
Alrighty, so before Marisa goes ahead, I do want to let everyone know attending, if you are okay with us recording the contents of Alumni Conference for today, it'll be saved for posterity's sake. So we just wanted to let everyone know if we can go ahead and record, and if there's any problems to let me know and we can stop recording. You can go ahead and message me now if anyone wants to withhold, but otherwise we can let Marisa get started. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, I'm like already laughing at some of the things that are coming through. Yes, I just figured out what 20G was. I was just educated a couple weeks ago. So shout out to my whole family tree that's here. So yes, I was just kind of trying to look through and just kind of certify that vibe like I was saying. I mean, I'm in the presence of greatness, y'all. Those before me, those who, you know, who were in the years after me, like this is a room of greatness, and certify your greatness as well. So if you are a student here, just know that you deserve to be here. You should be here. We all should. And, you know, we're just going to take this all in. I said it earlier, but I want to say it again. Cam, shout out to you. I've been so lucky to be at the alumni conferences for the last 3 years, and never have I ever seen this kind of turnout. I know the pandemic sucks, but y'all, to be able to get, I mean, like Christians in Canada, for crying out loud, like to get people from all over the place, from the Yay to SoCal to everywhere in between, to get us all here has been really, really great. So Cam, I love you. I'm just so proud of you, boo. Like, just amazing. All right, so as soon as I start sharing my screen, y'all, I'm not gonna be able to see your comments. And to be honest, it's kind of good because I get distracted because I want to start saying hi to everybody. Hey, Nicole. And so like, hey, Kim, see, this is what I mean. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start sharing. And I just want y'all to know that I am gonna probably talk pretty fast. So it's a good thing that this can be recorded so you can go back if I say anything that really stands out to you. All right, so y'all are in a Marisa sandwich. I'm gonna open and Marisa Montoya is going to close it out with her keynote later this afternoon, and I hope y'all stick around because everything that happens in between is just pure genius. So our shared journey, I just want to start before we really get into what I'm going to be talking about. I just want to take a moment. Sorry, I get really emotional with this, to honor our elders because they're being attacked. And I'm so sorry. Give me a second. They are everything. We are everything that they hope for, and we owe it to them to honor them. So in the face of the recent attacks, y'all, this is nothing new to us. This has been going on. We have been attacked from the beginning, from before we even came to this land. And so I just want to take a moment to honor them. And I also want to take a moment in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the struggle. Black lives matter always. Brown lives matter always. So please don't ever forget that our shared struggle is one that is built on the shoulders of our Black brothers and sisters who were brave enough to start this revolution on this land. So I just want to express this moment of solidarity with them now and always. Thank you for that. 20G is back, y'all. I'm back. This is my 3rd alumni conference, and every single year I say one of these days they're going to tell me not to come back, but y'all keep inviting me and I keep showing up. Every time you invite me, I'm going to be here. So a quick shout out to Ray Ray. You'll see him in the top right. He was the first one, Raven Ruiz, who I'm sure is probably some of your grand. I haven't talked to him in a bit, but in that picture you'll also see my homie David, and he's actually the one on the far right. If you see where I am in the top right picture, this was his baby. Like, he started the alumni conference. And he said at the time that there was maybe like 6 people at that first one. So I just want to give a shout out to him. He couldn't be here because I think it's his dad's birthday. Right below that is from last year. That's Tim. And I just want to give a shout out to all those who show up, who show out, and who put effort into putting this together every single year. This is a little bit about me. I am Pinay and I identify as Chicana. I am married to Andrew, 14 and a half years, y'all. Whew, it's a long time, but it's fun. It's fun. That is our boy, Xavier. He's 8.5 years old. He's actually playing in his first baseball tournament right now, and he already scored a run, so I'm really proud of him. So excuse me if every now and then I kind of peer down at my phone because it might be because he did something awesome. I've been an educator for 15 years. I started out in clinical behavioral work, working with students with autism. I then moved into teaching. I've been teaching special ed and English for 15 years. I currently teach 7th and 8th graders here in Claremont. So y'all can hear more about that if you want to in the breakout rooms. I am also a co-founder of Gleam, which is a wellness community for women of color, mostly focusing on the Pinay experience. And that is alongside my best friend, Joanne Michaels, who is also here today. So I just want to give a quick shout out to her. So what I'm going to be talking about today, our shared journey, what I discovered about myself at UCR, some lifelong lessons, the roadmap back to me, and moving forward. So that's kind of just like, this is what we're going to be going over. All right. Whew. I say this every time I show this picture, but look at those eyebrows, y'all. Oh, you can't see them? Right, because it was 2002. Don't judge. Graduated 2002 as an ethnic studies major. Y'all, I was a transfer student, so I did not come to UCR until my junior year. So if there's anyone out there that transferred, just know you can still find community even though you're the one that showed up when everybody already had a crew, okay? You just find your own. I was Katipunan political chair from 2001 to 2002. So here's my story. While I was at UCR, I really came to terms with a lot of things. UC Riverside was an incredible time of self-discovery for me. I learned who I really was as far as my identity. I like to put halfer, even though I never felt like I was half Chicana or half Filipina, I felt like I was whole, the both of them, if that makes any type of sense. I was actually born and raised in Manila, and I didn't move here until I was 11. And so I just felt like a really strong identity to both, you know, the Chicana LA side and also the Filipino side. So it was not until I got to UC Riverside that I realized it was okay to feel like I was whole on both sides of that. While I was at UCR, I really made incredible connections that I had never really made before. I really found my people while I was there, and I know that y'all are also finding your people. It's this feeling of like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? But also, I feel like I've known you all my life, right? And that happened for me when I was at UC Riverside. I really learned a bold and revolutionary self-love. Before I had come to UC Riverside, I had kind of gotten into some things, and you know, I was not in the best relationships. I was in abusive relationships. As if you went to the health conference, you know, my struggles with an eating disorder, those had really taken over my life. And it was really, really hard for me to say, I'm okay. You know, I deserve love. And while I was at UC Riverside, I learned just through my people, through identifying as a whole person, that I am not my past. My past doesn't define me. The abuse didn't define me. The self-loathing didn't define me. I was not a damaged person. I was a survivor. And that was something that I really, really had to work through, and I got through while I was at UC Riverside. I learned how to step into my greatness. And as one of my favorite coaches always says, the humble brag was over, right? I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, and some of y'all were there when it happened. I'm just gonna walk into UC Riverside and run for an office. And I'd only been there for like maybe 6 months, right? And I'm like, I'm just gonna walk in. Oh, there's a Filipino student group. Let me just go ahead and apply for political chair and see what happens, right? I started to really believe that I was worth something. And that really came to me while I was at UC Riverside. And it ignited a commitment to culture and community. I really started to accept my role in the advancement of our people. I really realized, like, you know what, I have to take this on, and I have to step forward and recognize that what I do is an advancement of my culture and my community. All right, these are just some fun ones from our UCR days. The picture on the far left, that's actually my ading. Her name is Ivy Kicho, and actually she's Bisaya, so I called her my Inday. So I actually, like, that's what I called her. And there you'll see Joanne, and then you'll see our eyebrows that luckily have grown back in. And these are just I got to go to DC. That's Dewada. Some of you might know Dewada. Melody, I think you might know Dewada. So we got to go to DC as part of a student delegation. And it was just a lot of good times, y'all. It was just a lot of good times at UC Riverside. These two ladies right here, again, I'm gonna get real emotional. Because Joanne and Catherine Koo, that picture is from our time there. And I just gotta say, like, dang it. I didn't wanna cry with this because I just got so much emotions. But the truth is, the three of us met at Katipunan. We met at a meeting, and we were just like besties from the jump. And we have literally seen each other through breakups, through revenge schemes on our exes, to finding our partners, to life, you know, our children, being there for each other when our children were born. We've been there for each other when we've had to say goodbye to parents. We've said goodbye to siblings. I have literally been through life and death with these two women. And so for that, I just have to take a moment to tell them that I love them. And I want to encourage each of you while I'm trying to get my life together right now. If you have these people in your life and they're on this Zoom right now, give them a quick shout out in the chat and just give them a moment to say thank you, because we don't say thank you enough to the people who've changed our lives. So to Joanne and Catherine, I love you both. Thank you so much. And thank you, Katipunan, for bringing us together. Okay, love you. So I'm gonna get my life together real quick, and y'all are gonna shout out the people that you love. And then I'm gonna get going. So here we go. A big part of my journey and a big part of your journey, right? And you're gonna see on this presentation that I put we, because this is something that we all experience together, right? This is a connection that we have as Katipuneros in, you know, who've graduated, who are currently in it, who are just out of UC Riverside. But Katipunan brought us to each other. And for me, Joanne and Catherine, like, we're still together 20 years later. I've always said the most successful relationship I have is with Catherine and Joanne, because we've been through the ups and the downs, and we're still together 20 years later. You know, we had a real soul connection. To this day, we can't really remember how we met. Like, it's just like all of a sudden we were just friends. And I feel like some of y'all out there can relate to that. Like, you think maybe you bonded because you were both, you know, like doing tinikling for PCN, but like you don't remember the moment when you made that connection. That's the power of Katipunan. That's the beauty of this organization, is that it brings together people that have these long-standing soul connections, and we just learn real lessons of unconditional love and acceptance. If you could get through multiple PCN practices that bring you through the whole night and you still love and accept that person, y'all are gonna be friends for a long time. Trust me. If you are doing and planning KE and you are still like want to be around those people after that, yo, those are bonds and connections you're gonna have forever. You truly, truly learn how to be there for each other. And as you move on past UC Riverside, you do see that you bring these relationships with you through life and death, quite literally. These two women have become my touchstones. You know, when I feel like I'm lost, I feel like I need some guidance, I go back to them and I ask them like, hey, yo, remind me who I am, right? Most importantly, we fix each other's crowns. It takes nothing for me to reach over and kind of straighten out a crown, and it takes nothing for my girls to reach over and help me fix my crown. And I really appreciate them for that, and just appreciate the fact that we had an organization like Katipunan to bring us together, because it did help me kind of navigate through those muddy waters. Everything seems okay when you're at UC Riverside, and then all of a sudden you graduate, and like literally the next day you're supposed to know what you're doing with the rest of your life. So it really helps to have people in your life that are going to help you through that time. I just want to go back to this too really quickly and just kind of say the bonds that I created at UC Riverside have been very instrumental. But let me tell you, some of the relationships that I've formed since leaving UC Riverside, through my involvement with Katipunan now, through the opportunity to mentor some of y'all, and even other alumni that I've met who are younger than I am, it's just been incredible. And I just want you to know that allow this experience today to bring you to somebody who maybe has something to offer you in your journey, right? Because we've been there, y'all. We have all, as you know from our credentials, had to apply to grad school. We can talk to you about what it's like to have to pay it off. We could talk to you about what it's like to try to balance family and, you know, and an education and a full-time job. So just know that as alum, we're here because we love this organization and we love all of you. And in a way, we see ourselves in all of you. So just know that we are here for you. And I'm so glad that this day has come so that we could be in each other's lives. Some lifelong lessons that I learned from Katipunan. One is community is currency. Listen, I was so amazed and just like, last night we did like a little run through, and y'all, the alumni that have gone on to create organizations within their workplace is astounding. I just am in awe of the beautiful work that my fellow alum have gone on to do. And I don't just mean forming in solidarity with other, you know, with other Filipinos within their workplace, but I mean forming organizations for LGBTQ+ communities, seeing a need, right? Seeing a need in their families, in their neighborhoods, in their workplace. And Katipunan taught us that, right? Community is currency. community is what brings all of us out of the pits of despair and into a place of light. When we're able to form community and we're able to form organizations that serve us as people, to serve us in areas of need, that's how we move forward as a people, right? And Katipunan is an example of how we can do that and how we can train ourselves to do that as we move on from here. Please know that you are among the founders in this room of many, many organizations, as you've already known, but not just like on a statewide or national sense, but even just in our communities, in our workplace. So that has been something that I took from Katipunan, as well as really paying attention. When there's a need, I try to fill that if I can, right? Another lesson that I learned, from my time with Katipunan is don't quit before the miracle. PCN, conferences, athletics, midterms, like how did that prepare us all for life, right? You're in the middle. I keep coming back to like PCN and conferences because those are the things that really stick out to me. And athletics, probably when Friendship Games was around, but like you're working, and it's just like, yo, I don't think this is gonna happen. Like I do not think that PCN is gonna come off flawless. Like, right? Like I don't know what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen at this conference? How are we gonna make sure that the students get from here to there, right? But somehow it happens because you don't give up, because the miracle is in that moment when it all comes together. So just know that moving forward, that is an important lesson. I know it feels crazy when you're in it, but as you move on, just know, like, don't quit before the miracle. Don't quit right before, because I promise it's coming. Keep the hard work, keep going, don't stop, because the miracle is right around the corner. I promise. And this next one is so important, y'all, because you didn't just join a club. We did not just join a club. We inherited a revolution. And I don't just mean about what's going on right now. I'm talking about the blood that runs through our veins, even before Katipunan was formed by Bonifacio and all the other men. Even before that, the women who stood and fought against the Spanish, the women and the men who fought against the multitude of invaders that were trying to come in and take our land. We inherited a revolution. That is the revolutionary blood that runs through our veins. So when you join Katipunan, not only are you joining a club that does incredible things in the community and for our people, but you are inheriting a revolution, because Katipunan in and of itself was created, right, in the late 1800s to oust the Spanish who were trying to take everything from us. So when you say the name Katipunan, understand where it comes from and understand this is a beautiful club, it's a beautiful organization, but it is a revolution. It is a revolution that you must take with you in order to change the world. And revolution, it means change. It doesn't mean you got to go out there, like some of us are. Some of us are going to go out there and we're going to march and we're going to do the things we got to do, right? We will do what we have to do, some of us. But revolution means change, and that, like, fight for change always, even if it's just within yourself, right? Even if it's just within yourself, to change the way that you see things, to switch the lens in which you view the world and affect the people around you. Slowly but surely engage in those conversations. And this is what Katipunan will give you, right? It will give you the strength and the courage to do that if you allow it to. So just understand the greatness in the word, what you've inherited, and how you can move that forward as you leave UC Riverside. Like I said, coming out of UC Riverside, it's like I graduated and the next day I was expected to know what to do. It's really hard when you're Lola and your mom is like, so now what, Anak? What are you gonna do now? And I'm like, I don't know. If you come to the education, you'll hear what I did, which what I actually did was I took a gap year and I ran away to Europe for like 3 months. So, because it can be really daunting when you leave UC Riverside, right? So when you leave and you're like entering the real world, you got to look for the places where the light can shine in, right? Because all of a sudden you're scared, all of a sudden you're faced with all these like real life decisions that you have to make. And it's like, how is this possible when I was just trying to like make it across campus to get to my classes, and now I'm here trying to figure out, do I need health insurance or not, right? Like, what's a 401k? Like, what? Like, I don't know, right? Like, those are all decisions that all of a sudden are thrust upon you. And it can be scary, and it could really cause some people to really shut down and be like, I don't know, whatever. So in those moments, look for the places where the light can shine in. Look for the good, right? Look for the good. And even when you feel really down, like understand, like those are the moments when you can allow some perspective. Rumi says the wound is where the light enters you. So whenever you're feeling down, whenever you're feeling like, yo, I don't know, acknowledge it and allow the light to enter so that you can kind of give yourself a little space to figure it out. And it's okay to be vulnerable. You know, I've talked to some of you in the last couple weeks, and there's a lot of vulnerability out there. Emotions are high. Y'all, we're in a pandemic. I am a big time extrovert, and I haven't seen anybody in a long time. And I cry and break down at least once a week. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I do at least once a week. It's more like 2 or 3 times a week, to be honest. And I realized, you know, I grew up everybody telling me, you're so maarte, ano ba? Like, why are you always crying? Like, you know, you're so OA. That was, in fact, at UC Riverside, there was an OA award, and I won it because all I did was cry all the time, right? Oh, that's Marisa, she just be crying. That's what I did. But you know what? It's just the vulnerability of it. Emotions are energy, right? So how are you going to take that emotion? How are you going to take that energy and turn it into something that's going to serve you? And for some of us, allowing ourselves to cry serves us because we just need to do it so we can move on, right? Turn on some sad music, crawl into bed, let yourself feel it, and then remind yourself of who the heck you are and get out there and just like do it, right? Right. Thank you, Jared, for that. I see you. You do what you need to do because emotions are energy. And if you stifle it, eventually you're going to burst, right? But if you allow the energy to flow and just go with it, it'll help you heal and it'll help you move on. And when you really feel like it's just too much, you got to ask for help. Go to your people. Remember those people I talked about earlier, the ones that made me cry when I talk about them? That's who I go to. That's who I go to. And understand, culturally, we've been taught that therapy, meh, why would you go to a stranger to talk about your life, right? No, therapy is a great thing. Therapy is a great thing, okay? I have a lot to be grateful for that has come from therapy. And I may or may not have told my mom because I didn't want to hear it. And that's okay, because it's a personal journey, it's a personal choice. But therapy is a good thing. And if that's a way, and listen, here's the other thing I'm going to tell you. And this is not just because my best friend happens to be a therapist, but don't wait until things go bad to see a therapist, okay? Things could be absolutely perfect or wonderful, and you can still go to therapy just to kind of talk it out. So therapy is a good thing. Having people that you could talk to is a necessary thing. And no matter what, remember that you own the pen. You own the pen to your story, okay? We are not our mistakes. We are the victorious through the process of self-discovery. I have to tell myself that constantly because the voice inside my head will still come in every now and then. The voice will still come in every now and then and say, remember when you did that? That was terrible. After I get off this today, I'm going to think of all the things I didn't say. It's true. I'm going to get off this keynote and I'm going to say, God, why didn't I say that? Or why did I say that? Or, you know, but then I just got to move on and understand that I'm still, even now at 42 years old, in the process of self-discovery. And that is what is victorious, right? Find what you need to move through the process. Ask for help. Be vulnerable. Those are the things that you need. Look for the places where the light can shine in and ask for help when you really need it. Those are kind of the ways that you can find your way back to yourself so that you don't get caught up in all the madness of like the real world, right? And I'm only speaking to you as like, I think even at UC Riverside, these are kind of micro lessons that you're learning. You might not know it yet, but you are. And as you move out of UC Riverside, I hope you take it with you. The final thing that I kind of wanted to talk to you about is moving forward. So every year I pick a word that I just bring with me through the year. And this year my word is forward. It's just a reminder that when I'm like, I feel stuck, and I felt stuck a lot already in 2021, that I must keep moving forward. And I want all of you students current, students at UC Riverside to just understand that today, by coming here today to this alumni conference, it is a declaration of your potential and of your greatness. Just by being here and understanding the importance of tapping into your resources, talking to alumni that can help you, not just get a job, but just help you through life, right? That is a declaration of your potential, and that is a declaration of your greatness. And I'll tell you why, because in a few years, it's going to be your turn. Okay, like I said, eventually they're going to stop asking me to come back, and one of y'all is going to have to step in here. Okay, and you're going to be amazing because you're already great. You're already great by being here. Remember that forward is a pace. I tell myself that all the time. There are some days where I'm like moving. I'm like, hey, look at me moving along. And other times, not so much. But whether you're moving slowly or quickly, just keep moving. And just remember, forward is a pace, right? What do you have? What can you take with you? And what do you leave behind? What lessons from UC Riverside are you going to take with you? What lessons from your first job are you going to take with you? What lessons from your first internship are you going to take with you? And which ones do you leave behind, right? Either way, express gratitude always for the lessons that you've learned. Say thank you for the lessons that you've learned. Even for the people that have come into your life to challenge you, say thank you. I know it's hard, and try not to roll your eyes when you do it, but even the people that challenge you, even the situations that challenge you, right? I was talking to someone this week, a current student at UC Riverside, and that person had a really hard time this week, and I encourage that person to just look at that and say, you know what, this is a lesson for life. This is a lesson for life moving forward. Take it, express gratitude for it, understand what you need to know, and then let it go. Take the lesson with you, right? Take the lesson with you and express gratitude for what it's taught you. Because gratitude does lead to growth. As you express gratitude, it will lead to your own personal growth. And honestly, it will start to silence the little hater that's in the back of your mind. We all have it. It never goes away. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. It never goes away. It just loses strength, right? It's not as strong. Oh, hey, hater, there you are. And you just know how to shut it down, right? It's always going to be there, but you're going to quickly learn how to shut it down. And like I said, it's for all these ways where you can practice it, even if you're at UC Riverside right now, so that when you move on, you take that with you. I just want to leave you with some final thoughts. Our journeys are unique. Every single one of you is different. Even though we're here together today, every single one of us has a different story. And every single one of them is beautiful, right? Our journeys are beautiful. They are a testament to our resilience. In the face of a pandemic, and yet we still rise. In the face of people trying to take our people out, we are the legacy and we are the survivors of our ancestors that came before us, right? We are what they fought for. The opportunities we have in front of us is what they fought for. And we must honor them with our growth. You must grow in order to honor what your ancestors fought for. That is a reminder every day for us to keep going. Our journeys are the light, and you must bring the light into the world. There have been some very dark times. There's going to continue to be really dark times. And whatever your light is, right? Even in a pitch black room, if you bring in a little candle, that brings in the light. So even if you're that little candle, even if you're that little spark in the darkness, you must be that spark. You must be that light. It is just our responsibility to do that. And one last thing, our journeys, they are shared. Even though we come in with unique stories, even though all of us are different, we share a journey. We share a common journey because we are Katipuneros. We are at UC Riverside. We come from UC Riverside. We carry the blood of our ancestors in us, and it is a beautiful and royal thing that we hold with us. And that is why we are powerful beyond measure. This is why we will go on to change the world. Students, this is why you will go on to change the world. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. As hard as this last year has been, as much as has changed since I last saw some of y'all in 2020, you all give me hope. You really do. You give me hope and you give me joy. And I see how you're already learning the lessons. You're already hearing and doing the things that you need to do to better yourselves, because you already understand your responsibility. And for that, I'm so grateful. Because even though I come in and I speak with you, just so y'all know, you all teach me more than I could ever teach you. And I just thank you for that. And Cameron, I thank you for the opportunity to talk to y'all today. Any chance I have to be with you, I always appreciate it. If you need to find me, if you want to find me, IG is probably the best way. And if you have hit me up on IG, you know that I will respond. I love to talk to people on IG. I'm super active on Instagram. I love to talk to all of you. So if you need to or want to or have questions, you can hit me on Instagram. Facebook, I'm not as good. Email, you can always get me there too. Know that I love you all. I'm so grateful for every single one of you. Cam, thank you again for having me. And I hope to see you in my breakout room, some of you. But thanks again, Cam. I love you, Katipunan.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Marisa. If y'all want to unmute, just like, just like the well-deserved applause, feel free to unmute, give her the cheers. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes. Thank you so much. Like you mentioned, like we always invite you back, but like you said, there is a reason, and we love, just having your encouraging words. So yes, thank you so much. And if y'all are interested in joining her room, please refer to the brochure for her number. Let me go ahead and pull that up too so I can shout that out. She'll be room number 4. So if you want to hear more of her, room number 4. So next up, we're going to have a workshop by Dr. Rod. But before we do, I want to just invite everyone to just stand up. We need a wiggle break. I'm gonna do my best so you can see me. Just like get up, stretch. You can't see me if I'm standing, but stretch those arms. I know your back is hurting from sitting. Roll your shoulders back. Just start rolling your shoulders back. I know it's sore from just, you're slouching in your chair right now. I know it. So, give that moment to just, wiggle it out. We've been sitting for a little while, but, thank you everyone for, being such good and attentive attendees, I'm loving the crowd. So if y'all are okay, if y'all don't have water, make sure you have water. And then I'd like to introduce Dr. Rod Dosmekwal. He will be sharing his workshop called If You Want to Know What We Are. So Dr. Rod, the stage is yours.
What's up, y'all? I hope you're all doing well. Marisa, that was fire. Just want to shout you out. That was beautiful. And I think it's a perfect segue to what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to be talking about a little bit of like, it's called our shared journey. And we're talking about like, our experiences as Filipinos in America, Filipino, Filipinxs. So it's inspired by, what's his name? America's in the Heart, man. Carlos Bellosan. And he wrote a poem called If You Want to Know What We Are Revolution. And I believe, just like what Marisa was talking about, we inherited a revolution. That's what we are. And that's what we're going to talk about in this workshop. So let me just give you just a rundown. So I'm going to go off track. Y'all did a land acknowledgement. Shout out to Davis. This has been a practice that we've been trying to cultivate and make people understand that we are on occupied land, and to acknowledge that both of our struggles, Filipino, indigenous, Black experiences, we are under the system of oppression that have marginalized us, that made us only self-hate ourselves. So we got to understand that these are continued struggles and in solidarity. We're going to do ancestor acknowledgement, do a brief introduction of who I am. I'll do more in my breakout session. Then we're going to go through a list of things. We're going to write some poetry, y'all, because I know you're all, as a trained educator, we're going to do some work. We're going to do some written work. So don't get scared. Don't be like logging off here. All right. We're going to write some poetry today. Okay. And then it's a little bit of a Padlet exercise, and then we're going to just sock this out. This is a tradition that we do in the organization that my wife and I, Joselle, are a part of, Pinoy Pinay Education Partnerships. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, so I don't really have to do the land acknowledgement because Davis, you are a bomb, dude. So hold on a second. Okay, so just the land acknowledgement. But what I want to do though is to also bring our ancestors into the space. So if you can put in the chat, please type the ancestors that you want to bring into this space. Because just like what Marisa was talking about, we inherit a history, and we stand on the soldiers and the shoulders of those that came before us. So please, if you can, put some ancestors that you want to bring into this sacred space. I'm gonna give y'all about 30 seconds. So we have from Miguel, Lolo, Ignao, the Muwekma Ohlone leaders, past and present, and thank you. Apong Cornelios, sorry. Lolo, Paz, and Lolo Sergio. Okay. Okay. All the Lolos in the house, Lolo Ruth. Great grandma Mary, Lolo Rufina. Hey, my grandma's name was Rufina too. Okay. Nanay Dolores. Okay, we'll do a few more. And you could still shout them out, bring them into the ancestors, because we wouldn't be where we're at today if it wasn't for the struggles of our ancestors. Okay. Mamang, nanay, tatay. Okay. So in recognition for all the ancestors that are on this chat, and y'all could still put people on this chat, I just want to recognize what they mean to you and how they played a role in your place in society, in the classroom, outside the classroom, in service of the people. And just want to recognize them. Who I want to bring into this space is my first Phil-Am professor, and that was Dr. Steffi Buenaventura. And it was crazy. I remember in 1994, I was a junior in high school, and some of y'all that are older than me probably know my brother. My brother is Mono Richard McBoal, Dr. Richard McBoal. It's kind of funny, he's part of the Kaiser family too, so shout out to Melody, the Kaiser, and that's the reason why he can't be here. But I remember when she came to our class. I mean, my brother here, he's the bald headed dude on the left side. That was my graduation year on the top left. He would come in with these books, and these books were like America's in the Heart by Carlos Pelosan, The Forgotten Asian Americans by Fred Cordova. And at that time, those were like the only two Filipino books we ever had, And my brother was like, "Hey, Rob, man, you got to check this book out, man. Check this shit out. It has freaking Ilocano in here." I was like, "Nah, man, you're lying, dude. You're lying." He's like, "Look, man, they're talking about bagong in here, man. That old woman touched bagong and her cracked hands are all jacked up." I was like, "What?" And then he pointed out like a quote to me. He's like, "Check this out, man. They used to discriminate against Filipinos?" I was like, "Nah, dude. Man, Filipino American history started when mom came here as a nurse." And I was like, "Nah, dude, they used to get discriminated against. Look." And the quote was, "It was a crime to be Filipino in California." So all the issues that we see today with Black Lives Matter, police brutality, discrimination, all the rhetoric to say, go back to your country because you don't belong here. It was in that book. And growing up in the 90s, I grew up at the tail end of the LA riots. I grew up at the tail end of LA riots, but for me, and I'm biased, the golden age of hip hop, right? I was listening to Public Enemy, NWA, KRS-One, A Tribe Called Quest. And they were speaking truth to power, Public Enemy. And I was thinking like, whoa, if they're talking about and rapping about this, does hip hop relate to me? And I saw my uncles that were gangsters. I saw my aunties that were also gangsters. And I was realizing, why isn't that everybody's not going to college? My friends are not going to college. And so when we started learning about that history, it wasn't by history out of a vacuum. It was by design. And I started learning about my history through hip hop and the books and the study and my service, to the point that, after graduation at UCR 2000, I went to go get my master's in Asian American Studies 2004, right after 9/11, because there was so much anti-hate against Asians. And you're going to hear more of that from my wife, who organized Southern California Committee and nationwide about hate crimes against Asian Americans. We decided to come up here to the Bay thinking it's just going to be a 2-year thing and then going back. But we ended up staying here. We laid down roots and we laid down our seeds in here. And, we've been here for the past like almost 20 years now. And to the point where I was like, I knew that education was such a powerhouse that you needed to have education to open up doors to other places and access. That the doctor before your name isn't just for yourself, but to open the door for other people behind you. So I got my doctorate in USF, organizational leadership, just to open up doors with your name. There's places where we can't even go because you don't have like the legitimization of something, right? And then 2008, I decided to feel like, or 2018, there was so much stuff that was going on at the federal level that I wanted to go off and like take what I've been doing in the classroom and take it out of the 4 walls of the classroom and be like, if we're gonna do ethnic studies in the classroom, we gotta do ethnic studies out and abroad in the daylight, because they out here trying to, oppress us, silence us, tell us to go back to our home country. And my students were going through that. They were undocumented students. There were students that were sleeping on couches every day, going back to their suburb homes because, man, rent was so damn expensive, and it's still expensive in the Bay Area. So I ran in 2018, that the politics doesn't just end in the classroom, and that you doing PCN is activism, but then your activism doesn't just stay in college. It's part of your life, right? And to be part of this organization called Pinoy Pinay Educational Partnerships, which is like my fictive kin, my family. And it was founded by Dr. Alison Tintianco Cubales, who coined the word Pinayism. And I can say that she is like one of my closest friends, to the point she's like the ninang to both of my kids. And we talked about growing our own. So the revolution starts at home. So my wife and I, the picture on the top right is our family. Daughters Amianan, who just turned 13 last week, and our son Rason. And it was intentional because naming is important. We named our daughter Amianan for North before Kim K and Kanye decided to name their kids North. We named them North in Ilocano to remember where she came from, that she's from the northern part of the Philippines, and that's the language of her ancestors. And then our son's name is Rason Nakam. Rason means purpose, reason in Ilocano. Nakam means soul consciousness. So this is an extension that what we learned from back in the day is lineage to what our future is going to be. Okay, so that's just a little bit about me. But to understand this workshop and to really ground this about understanding who you are and what we are as revolution, I also want to bring this ancestor in, who is the ninang to my son, Dr. Don Buhulon Mabalon. And it's crazy. I remember in 1998, 99, I went to a conference in Harvard representing UCR because I was external vice president. And I had to go all the way to Harvard just to meet all these LA folks. Don was one of them, Faith Santia, Kiwi, like all these folks now that are like, trendsetters. And she passed away a couple of years ago. But I wouldn't be standing here where I'm at right now if it wasn't for her tutelage, mentorship, and expertise, and of course, friendship. And she said that, ethnic studies, you have to think of 3 things when you talk about ethnic studies. It's about who am I? What is the story of my family and community? And what can I do to make positive change and bring social justice to my community in the world? And these are the 3 essential questions in ethnic studies. And she said that you got to understand, who are you? What is your identity? What is the story of my family and community? Why did they leave the homeland? My wife and my kids, we went to the Philippines a few years back, and I was thinking to myself, why did my ancestors want to leave this pristine, beautiful area of Ilocos Norte? Pristine, clear waters, food that you raise in your backyard, you eat it. What was the conditions? What was the sense of poverty? What caused the poverty? What caused many Filipinos to be pushed out till today, right? It's still going on now. And number 3, what can I do to make positive change and bring social justice to my community in the world? So when I was writing my dissertation, I used to think like, when you're conscious, you can't just be like, yo, I'm empowered, yo. It has to be with action. And, me, Joselle, Arlene, we would come home after nights, after meetings with PEP, and we would watch this show called Heroes. And in the beginning, I don't know if you remember Heroes, but it was on a show on NBC, and they used to talk about like, a true hero is a person that utilizes their powers for the good. So what, you got to utilize your consciousness and actions from what you know, right? Either be history or in medicine or in engineering or in sciences. Like, what do you use as your gifts to change the world? But also, Don said that Filipino American history is a conversation with our ancestors. You are an extension of your ancestors. You are here because of what they've sacrificed. So if they had to sacrifice to move across the world to be where they're at today, they did it for the sake that you are in those chairs to learn about something to improve, not just your life, but your generation after generation. There's an indigenous saying of the 7 generations. What you do now affects the 7 generations ahead of you. 7 generations before you affected who are you today. So what type of stand are you going to take? And I wrote this in my writing, right? I put this mural because this came up like in 1994. And I remember, so this mural was created by Aliseo Silva. And I remember being a high school kid and, being introduced to him. And it's crazy because he's from Riverside. His brother was my wife's classmate at Arlington High School. And all they did was art. And I remember them saying, like, yo, he's going to make a LA mural in Los Angeles. I was like, that's crazy. Because I thought that Filipino American history started when my mom came here. I didn't know that history started way before then. And if you look at this mural, you see things like all the way on the left with the Manila Village and jumping the shrimp to labor, to our legacy in sports and boxing and diving, to labor unions and labor organizing, to organizing transnationally from the People's Power movement in 1986 across the ocean. And how did it affect what's going on today? And if you ever haven't had a chance to go and check this out, please check it out. I mean, it looks different from 94 till today, because now they got like Pacquiao and all those guys on there. Before, this was how it used to look like, So I begin with that. We belong to history before history belongs to us. And then Marisa said, we inherited our revolution. So when we talk about history is something that is, when we say inherited, that means it's by choice. You could either just say, fuck it, and just go with your life, or you could take the reins of that legacy and move forward with it. So I'm going to share a little poetry piece by Carlos Bolosan. And he said, if you want to know what we are revolution. Okay. Hopefully my sound and my internet won't go down. But here it is.
If you want to know what we are, who inhabit forest, mountain, river shore, who harness beast, living steel, martial music, that classless language of the heart, who celebrate labor, wisdom of the mind, peace of the blood. If you want to know what we are who become animate at the rain's metallic ring, the stone's accumulated strength, who tremble in the wind's blossoming, that enervates earth's potentialities, who stir just as flowers unfold to the sun. If you want to know what we are who grow powerful and deathless in countless counterparts, each part pregnant with hope, each hope supreme, each supremacy classless, each classlessness nourished by unlimited splendor of comradeship. We are multitudes the world over, millions everywhere, in violent factories, sordid tenements, crowded cities, in skies and seas and rivers, in lands everywhere. Our numbers increase as the wide world revolves and increases arrogance, hunger, disease, and death. We are the men and women reading books, searching in the pages of history for the lost word, the key to the mystery of living peace, imperishable joy. We are factory hands, field hands, mill hands everywhere, molding, creating, building structures, forging ahead, reaching for the future, nourished in the heart. We are doctors, scientists, chemists, discovering, eliminating disease and hunger and antagonisms. We are soldiers, navymen, citizens, guarding the imperishable will of man to live in grandeur. We are the living dream of dead men everywhere, the unquenchable truth that class memories create to stagger the infamous world with prophecies of unlimited happiness, a deathless humanity. We are the living and the dead men everywhere. If you want to know what we are, observe the bloody club smashing heads, the bayonet penetrating hollowed breasts, giving no mercy. Watch the bullet crashing upon armorless citizens. Look at the tear gas choking the weakened lung. If you want to know what we are, see the lynched trees blossoming, the hysterical mob rioting. Remember the prisoner beaten by detectives to confess a crime he did not commit because he was honest, and who stood alone before a rabid jury of 10 men, and who was sentenced to hang by a judge, whose bourgeois arrogance betrayed the office he claimed his own. Name the marked man, the violator of secrets. Observe the banker, the gangster, the mobster who kill and go free. We are the sufferers who suffer for natural love of man for man, who commemorate the humanities of every man. We are the toilers who toil to make the starved earth a place of abundance, who transform abundance into deathless fragrance. We are the desires of anonymous men everywhere, who impregnate the wide earth's lustrous wealth with a gleaming fluorescence. We are the new thoughts and the new foundations, the new verdure of the mind. We are the new hope, new joy, life everywhere. We are the vision and the star, the quietus of pain. We are the terminals of inquisition, the hiatuses of a new crusade. We are the subterranean subways of suffering. We are the will of dignities. We are the living testament of a flowering race. If you want to know what we are revolution.
So that was a poem by Carlos Bolosina, which was published in 1983, but actually written in the 1940s, and it was performed by Ronald Antonio. So in the chat or out loud, what are some impressions? What are some things that emerge from this poem? Cameron said power and strength. Okay. Any other else? That's what my dad used to say. I love that, right? That's a lot of alliteration. Subterranean subway of suffering. We're living a dream. History repeats itself. Struggle and confusion. Hey, what's up, Jay? Man, Jay, I don't know if you remember me, but I used to be your white cop coordinator back in like the late 90s, man. Perseverance. Yeah. Okay. Guess everybody's like, man, Saturday morning, man. All right. Dr. Giselle said, we are the vision and the star, right? So when we talk about like who we are as Filipinos, where there's this dialectic, and dialectic means these functional opposites. It's like the yin and the yang, or the night and day. They can't exist without one another, right? So yeah, we definitely need to reconnect. Jay, it's been a long time. I think it's been like 20 some years. But when we talk about this dialectic of struggle and confusion, we are kind of like one of the other, but we are all both. Just like Marisa's identity, she's like Chicana and Pinay, but then she's 100% both, right? And when we talk about the struggles of Filipinos in America, it runs parallel to what's going on with the genocide of indigenous people, to the experiences of the Black experience, and our histories are so intertwined, right? Everything from the Filipino-American War to the Third World Liberation Front to establish ethnic studies at San Francisco State that spurred a whole revolution 50 years ago.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So we'll go ahead. I'll give it off to Cameron in a bit. Hope the break was fine, but yeah, we'll be starting in a second.
All right, everyone, welcome back. I know we went over by 1 minute, but so this next workshop is going to be held by some of our first alumni who participated in PCN. So you're going to be hearing from the people who were there for our first PCN and the people who came, immediately after them. So they'll be sharing their history of how Katipunan got started with our PCNs. I'd like to invite Ryan Gigahena if he'd like to speak up and introduce the workshop, please.
Hey everybody, good afternoon. Can anybody hear me? Am I clear? Great. As I'm talking here, I'd like to get Anna online here pretty soon. And then we have Jen Jakar, I think Lulu Wistro. We have Tracy and also Jeff. Thank you for this. It's my first time attending this, and it's an honor to see many of you. My friend Tracy's, we were chatting in the side here, and we were like, oh, the current students here, many of them weren't even born when we were there at UC Riverside. So this era here has been like around 1988 to around 1996. I think that's the span, or 98 or something. That's the span that we're going to be talking about. And it's been amazing for us to see everybody here, because it's such a, I mean, it's been 30 years, right? So it's like, wow, we were just there, and many of you guys can be like our kids. So I'm very proud of you guys. And I'm really, me, I have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. So they're up and coming, and I'm so glad that the future is very bright. And you guys are the leaders of our community. I'm so happy to see that. So I wanted to get Anna here. Anna, are you there? Let me see if I can find her. She was.
I am.
Okay, I'm gonna spotlight you. Now, I just want to introduce Dr. Anna Tortilla.
No.
She's
I
a
don't need
medical
to go by
doctor,
that.
so I'm gonna put. I guess I can spotlight her video, and I guess you can talk about how it all started, I guess, from your area. Okay.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me. My name is Anna Tortilla. I used to be former Anna Abitan back in UCR UCR. And I guess my history for dance, I had joined Pasakat. I don't know if you all know Pasakat. It has been, or have celebrated their 50th anniversary last year. And so I was part of that back during high school. So I had some background or experience in dance. As you can see, my background is my 15-year-old daughter, who is now part of Pasakat, and I've been continuing the traditions with both my girls. And my 17-year-old used to do banga at 7 pots high. So I'm very proud of both of them. But when I went to Riverside as a freshman, I did find back then we used to call ourselves Filipino Student Union. And so I joined that club, the Filipino club, and noticed that we didn't really have any dance going on, and trying to get into the cultural piece of it as far as dance goes. It looks like Ryan is showing some pictures of our old days back in the way back when. So Lenny was actually the first choreographer for PCN. And we just wanted to have fun, just trying to showcase just some dances of the Philippines. And so since it was our first year, we didn't have a budget, we didn't have anything. And we started off in the cafeteria, just had 2 spotlights. Actually, my husband now, who was one of the spotlighters, he wasn't dancing at the time. He was helping out like with the tech stuff. So we only had a few, yeah, there. That's us way back when. Oh boy, wow, memories. That's over 30 years, wow. And then, well, anyway, 2 spotlights, a small stage, some curtains. That's basically it. All we did was a few Maria Clara dances and country. That's all we had props and costumes for. The second year, which is in 1990, we started to introduce the Muslim or the dances of the South. We didn't have a mountain suite just yet, and we just recruited a few of the guys. And so again, that was a little bit longer program as compared to our first PCN. By 1991, we featured skilled dances, things that we had to do as far as balancing things, like in Binta, you had to balance, and I had to educate some of our friends who were like Koreans, Japanese, Thai, you know, you name it, because we didn't have enough Filipino guys that joined. So we did feature Vinta and the use of just balancing on bamboos. The use, or we featured also Singkil. You can see there on the screen, I was the Singkil princess back in '93, and I had to audition for that. But back in '91, we also did like Binasuan. We also created a thing for tinikling. It wasn't the traditional tinikling. We didn't have baseboards, so we I called it traveling, you know what, when we were doing tinikling, because we did different formations, jumps, and it was not your traditional tinikling, just going in and out the bamboos. So so that was fun. It took a long time to teach all this, and I was the choreographer for 1990, 91, and I think that was it for the 2 years. And then in 92, I just wanted to be a dancer, so I danced for in 92 for PCN, and then we introduced the skit, I think, which Ryan is going to tell you more about, is the skit. And then we also introduced the mountain suite as well as the modern suite. They wanted to do more of a upbeat type of suite. It was just maybe 1 or 2 dances. That was really quick. And then by 93, I ended up choreographing a few of the dances. And as you can see, some of the features here on the videos, I auditioned for the Singkil Princess. And then it looks like Greg Tan, who is a physician over at Kaiser Permanente. He's over at Marietta, I think. We all kind of worked for Kaiser. I don't know. Somehow we ended up at Kaiser. So he was our prince for 93. And I think that kind of sums it all. I know I have a very short time limit, so who am I supposed to put this next?
Thank you, Anna. I just wanted to ask also how much time we have, because I know we were kind of like running late there. I just want to make sure.
You can keep going until like. Oh, sorry.
Till what time?
I'm thinking, looking at the clock, maybe trying to do the quick math right now. Maybe 12:35, 12:40.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All
well, we got some time.
Okay, so I think from there, thank you, Anna, for sharing. I mean, the humble beginnings of, I think we were talking about this a couple nights ago. We were at the Commons, which is different right now. The Commons was a very small kind of area, and then there was a cafeteria. So the first 1988 dance was in the cafeteria, right? I mean,
that's correct. It was very small audience.
You didn't have to pay there. You just show up and you just.
Yeah, it was donation only.
So I know we talked about the budget. How much was our budget? At least
we had 0 budget first PCNs. By second PCN, I think it was like not even $500. So we barely scraped some costumes and props. But by the third one, I would definitely say, I mean, we were definitely in the UC Riverside Theater already. So we had a little bit more budget than that by the third year, third PCN. So budget was a struggle.
We moved on up at the UC Riverside Theater there, and that's what we can hold. And then I think later on we'll talk that I think by 93, 94, we expanded to a couple shows. So I think we did like 3 shows by that time. But
yeah, and you introduced our skit, right? You introduced the skit.
Dances, and I think some of the speakers here discussed regarding the blossoming of finding our identity. I think that's definitely what happened as a Filipino club or association. We started thinking, man, hey, we're all have the same values and stuff, and we'll talk that a little bit more, because by 90, we didn't have any Asian American like studies, right, at UC Riverside, and I think we had to fight for it. So, but again, because of our PCN, we started doing skits. We learned about, I think I introduced before it was just like stories and stuff like that, but we started talking about like the heroes, I think.
You're right.
You were talking
You're
about
right.
Jose Rizal and Magellan, and then got into, I think, our saints, and even I think Aquino, the revolution. So that became a little bit more political because of that time. And maybe Tracy, Dr. Tracy, and you can talk about kind of the transition. I think that's what this thing was, is getting a lot of soul searching. So what happened in like 93, 94?
Well,
and again, I want to introduce Dr. Tree Singh. She's also a physician. I think there was a lot of doctors that came out of that.
Right. Rich McBall.
A lot of them.
And couples.
Mikey Aguinaldo. Yeah.
I'm so glad. So yeah, Tracy, introduce yourself. Thank you.
Hi. I was at UCR 90 to 94 with Ryan Gigahena. I joined FSU 91, 92. And yeah, that was probably our first year that we did the skit with Naomi. We did the Mumus of Filipino past, present, and future. And then the following year, we did the grandparents telling the kids the history of the Philippines. And that's when we introduced Datu Lapu-Lapu, Jose Rizal, all of the history of the Philippines. And then we went more political to 93, 94. That's the one that Ryan wrote. And that was the Filipino experience in California. So I don't know, I sent you some videos, but I
think we did the America's in the Heart. That's what the book.
Yes, America's in the Heart. So it definitely became more political. I came from a high school that I hardly had any Filipinos. I was born and raised in the Valley, and I discovered my culture and Filipino history through FSU, but more through PCN. I think a lot of us did, because a lot of us were, born and raised in California or in the United States, that through PCN, we really learned to appreciate the Filipino culture, the history, learning the different suites and the skits with the different leaders in the Philippines. So it was very empowering. Other than that, I would like to say I have friends from college that are my best friends up to now. And because, yeah, all those PCN practices and skit practices, you're seeing everyone every single day stressed out over your bio paper and your English paper and having to be yelled at by your dance coordinator, Jen and Anna.
Oh, come on. That wasn't that bad. Just kidding. I did yell a lot, though.
Jakar, was she still on?
Jen Jakar.
It brings character.
Yeah, Jen Jakar, you can chime in as well. I know you're around there somewhere. I know she had to pick up her kids, so.
Is Lou on?
I'm not sure, Lou, if you can come in. Yeah, so Tracy, you remember there was a time, we were talking about racism and stuff like that. Remember, can you recall what happened?
Right. So back in around that time, 92, 93. Well, yeah, while we were there was the LA riots. That was pretty intense. And then shortly thereafter, there was some controversy on campus over some racism in the grad students. And it was an Asian American that was, there was a problem. And so we went and did a sit-in at the chancellor's office. It was all the groups, the Asian American group, the Native American, the Latino, it was the African American. We all went over to the chancellors because they were not doing anything in regards to these racist actions that were going on. Then so after that, there was just really the culture and the campus and the administration. We took advantage of that situation and really pushed for the Asian the Asian class, and that's why were you in it, Ryan? I was able to get into the first class of Dr. Steffi. That was
None.
it was
I mean, we
a
didn't.
highlight for us.
Right. And it was kind of like, yeah, how come we didn't have any classes? And that's kind of like, I think now we have classes at UCR, right? And I think that was when it started, when we were protesting, you know, along with the other Asian groups. So it was a powerful moment for us. And I think, you know, really unified Asian Americans at UCR Riverside. So interesting.
And I think that's why we did that PCN that last year, because with the activism and everything, it really inspired us to do that one, our last year there.
Yeah, so definitely became political. And I think, I mean, I'm so glad a lot of people here have continued that that feeling. Is Jen here? Jen Jakar, are you there? And Lou as
I'm here.
I don't know if you guys know Lou Luistro. I mean, you guys. I mean, he spanned a lot of of years there, right, Lou? When did you go in, and how long were you involved with the PCN and ECR stuff like that?
Hello.
Oh, introduce yourself.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, introduce yourself, Lou. What are you doing now?
Hey, man. Yeah, I'm not used to the Zoom stuff, so I hardly ever do Zoom, so I don't do it in my career. So, but yeah, my name's Lou Luistro. I was actually started going to UCR in high school as part of high school university's program. So I started taking classes there while I was in high school. So I'm actually I tie a lot of people from the past to the present. Anna, I was around when Anna and Ryan were there. When the PCN was actually 3 positions. So I forgot the other 3 positions, but I assumed assistant PCN coordinator. And I think in 93 or 94, Jen Jakar, after Juke, I became the first PCN chair. So, but I graduated, I finished in 96 with an engineering degree. Yeah, so we changed a lot of the format of dances over there at UCR. We actually did some of the first dances. We were the first school to do Jota Paragua, which you guys still do currently. I was actually hanging around with a lot of current UCR students last year. So right before COVID, I was actually trying to help you guys with some of the dances. And Raven actually picked up some costumes from my house so that you guys used for the pictures last year prior to COVID. I was around helping you guys with Sing Kill, and I forgot what other dances, the mountain dances. Yeah, you guys were still practicing. You guys were still practicing the dances at Humanities 500. Also, I want to say that what these guys refer to as the commons area or the cafeteria is what is now commonly referred to you guys as the hub, I believe. So where that area where it goes down to the ground, it was just one floor. No, it's just one floor where they used to that cafeteria area where you guys have now. What else? Also, back then we used to have the UCR at the Humanities 500. We would have the dances. The performances. We had 2 performances there. Then we took it out at UCR. It got too big. Then we took it out into San Bernardino Performing Arts Theater, and then after that we took it out all the way out to La Mirada because we needed someplace bigger, more professional. But because back then we didn't have the Fox Theater, the modern Fox Theater that you guys have in downtown Riverside. So yeah, and also like a lot of the formats, a lot of the basics, fundamentals with the sway balance, Koredang, were brought in around 93, 94 of how to do all the dances. Back then, we didn't have YouTube. We actually, it was, we were also Jeff Aquino and I. Later on, Jeff would tag along and go to LA and learn all our dances that we brought down to UCR. And then we introduced all the other suites. And I forgot what other dances we introduced that wasn't done in a lot of other places. We also took the choreographer. I was part of a dance group in LA called Sarindiwa and Siningito, which also helped the UCLA and USC PCNs, but they're also part of the UC North, Cal State Northridge. But this group of people also, we did PCNs all throughout the state. So I wasn't, when we did it back then, we weren't just doing PCNs at UCR. I was helping out with PCNs around the state, from San Diego all the way down to Hayward. So, but I was the guy sneaking around trying to help you guys last year.
So Lou's like
I only lived on the street.
Imagine that, you know, that's amazing. I think we should put Lou at the Hall of Fame or something, because that's like what, spanning almost 30 years of service. That's amazing. And you're a nurse.
On and off, not consistent. So
you're ICU nurse, so that's what you're
yeah.
doing.
So I haven't slept yet.
Okay, is Jen Jakar here? Jen, are you there somewhere? Okay, I think she might have picked up her kids, but she was here earlier, so she was also the coordinator. And then I guess we're gonna go into Jeff. Jeff Aquino, I think at that time, that's 95. I already left at that time, so Jeff would be the one that is from there. So Jeff, can you talk about your experience as well?
Yeah, so my PCN experience was kind of a cross between, you know, what Ryan and Lou were doing, and then really moving into pretty similar to how it kind of runs now. And so my first PCN was pretty much, it didn't take place on campus. Our PCNs were always at a theater outside. So like Lou said, San Bernardino, La Mirada, I think, and then for the past couple of years that I did it, we were at the Riverside Municipal Theater in downtown Riverside. And that was really just so that we can have the space, you know, prior to like whenever it is that we were trying to bring it back onto campus to really make it convenient for everyone else who's in Riverside. The hard part about that was the funding and the money, because the cost of utilizing the space, which was humanities 400 or 500 at the time, we had to sell out like 3 shows in a row in order to just break even. And there was no guarantee that we would be able to sell out 3 shows in a row. And so we would always look at larger theaters, because we would earn more back from larger theaters than we would by having it on campus. And so around the time that I was cultural coordinator, I think our budget for PCN had kind of exploded to about maybe $5,000 or so, comparing to the 400 that it started at. And that money was all about, it was paying for the facility, it was paying for printing, it was paying for the union workers who were required to work the theaters that we were pretty much all doing it at. And so, you know, so the big thing around PCN was about fundraising. It was like fundraising. So we were always performing, we always did TV tapings, we were always doing some type of fundraising. Yes, and then the program ads, yes. We were like selling ads like they were crack. Like, you know, we went to Goldilocks, Red Ribbon, we were in Little Manila in LA, we were, you know, talking to our aunties and uncles, trying to get, you know, full page ads from our aunties and uncles to, you know, put that out there. And so, and really that was just all to kind of fund like the necessities. Like PCN was never anything where we actually broke even from. We always came in with a deficit, but we knew that this was something that was worth it, because what PCN ended up being for a lot of students, especially for me, was that it was the gateway. Like it was the start for me to learn about my own culture, because I grew up in an area where I grew up, I went to school and I was surrounded by non-Filipinos. And so having the opportunity to learn about, you know, my background and my culture, like that's where it all started from. And then from there, it kind of branched off into learning about the history, learning about the language, learning about our heroes, and then learning about the issues that we are currently all going through. One of the things that I definitely want to highlight about the time that I was there was that we really started to see a distinction between the play and the dancing, because what we started to see was the highlight was usually the dances at the beginning, right? And then we had the play to kind of tie in the dances into some type of story. And as we moved further along, we started to really see the play as a way to put our own stories and put our own concerns out. So we were talking about the issues that were important to us at that particular time. And we used that platform as a way to kind of highlight those kinds of things. Because around that time, that was the beginning of like our Filipino American Studies classes. We didn't have Tagalog back then. We were fighting for it back then. When I was working at APSP was when we first started to get our Rondalia class, right? And from what I hear, that's still going on. And then and then also in my senior year, we actually had a Philippine dance instructor who was actually who was a faculty within the dance department who actually taught Philippine dance as a class. And so these are things that kind of really got the ball rolling with a lot of people. And so so PCN no longer became something that was just about the dances. It then became something that incorporated dances, but it incorporated issues and it incorporated other areas of performance expression for our students and for our people to really get a chance to learn more about who it is that we were, but also to demonstrate and show to our families what it is that we're learning. Because when we talk to our families about what it is that they're learning, like they would always be like, oh yeah, I know about that. It's like, well, how come you never told us or you never taught us anything about those kinds of things? And for me and for my family, like my parents were all about like, I want to make sure that you grow up as American as possible because I don't want you to go through the same kind of discrimination that they went through when we were here. And so their justification to not teach me Tagalog and to not teach me things about being Filipino was intentional. And so me being a part of PCN and me doing all of this was my way of reclaiming those kinds of things. And it's the same thing for a lot of students as well. And I'll kind of leave it at that. And so, I mean, I was around all the way until 2002. So even though I wasn't necessarily dancing, I was teaching and I was still doing a lot of tech and I was still doing a lot of advising around PCN and stuff like that too. I do want to highlight Hell Week because I did see someone put a comment about Hell Week. Hell Week is something that we, I'm not sure when it was that exactly we started, but that's like your rite of passage into PCN. Like, we were practicing the week before. We would practice until 1, 2 in the morning. We would be in the old PE building or we'd be outside in the grass. And then it was always be the night before or the 2 nights before. It would be like Catherine said, it would be team no sleep. We wouldn't be sleeping at all. And then we'd be going off of pure adrenaline for the next 2 days. And then afterward, like everyone would just kind of crash after. But I do want to highlight Hell Week because I think that is as much as we practice consistently throughout the year, Hell Week was when everything came together. We had the skit coming together and the dances coming together and all of the other performances kind of coming together. And that's where the community was really being built at that particular time. And so I won't continue any further. I'll leave it off to whoever ends up next. But yeah, I think my time was definitely a big transition from where it is that it started to, and then going to where it is now. I mean, I love the evolution of it right now, and I really hope that it continues to evolve and to change and to really become something different than what it was and how it continues to be.
Hey Jeff, I just want to add so everybody has an idea of on those pictures on the bottom left-hand corner. You guys, that's the barn. We used to practice at the barn and store some of our bamboos at the barn. Also on the top right-hand corner, that's John Swing. He used to be he was the director of SIPA till he passed away earlier. I mean, mid last year due to COVID. So so there's a lot of yeah, and that right there is in Watkins. Looks like the same wood that's probably in Watkins right now. And also, we used to practice at the rec center when it first opened. The rec center right now is twice or 3 times the size that it used to be. So where the offices are at, where the first phase of the rec center, that's where we used to have our Hell Weeks, part of it. So it's gone a long way, definitely.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Lou. Yeah, just a moment of silence for John Swing, and also one of our friends, Victor Guanco, who also passed away, I think a couple years ago. He was a lawyer, and he was also definitely part of our PCN. So that's why I actually put that in there. So thanks. I think that's about it. Is Jen Jakar here? If not, then I think that might be it. But just wanted to, I guess, wrap it up. Is there anything else, Anna, Tracy, Jeff, Lou, you want to add as we close our history of PCN? No? Okay. I wanted
just
to
just thank you for continuing the legacy and everything. You guys still have the Filipino graduation. Our year, Ryan and our years were the first ones to do it. And so I mean, it's wonderful to see how far you guys have gone. It's incredible, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be a part of today's conference with you guys.
This is Anna. Yeah, I say the same thing, ditto to Tracy. I mean, I'm just amazed that it's lasted this long, because I thought after the 90s, it was just, I didn't hear much of it. I did see the 27th show, and I thought it was awesome that it lasted that long. And it's now what, the 32nd, 33rd, something like that. So yeah, from what we started off as just having fun with a few dances, it's just amazing how it's gone to like what, 2-3 hours worth of show showcasing. So this is great. I love the education, and I enjoy learning from you all, actually, because sometimes I even forget, just working in the corporate office. I work at Kaiser Permanente at the regional office. So, you know, I don't have much influence there as a Filipino, but at least I'm one of the leaders there to, you know, show them sometimes and teach them about like what we do as Filipinos, because we have a lot of employees, you know, of course, in nursing and we have administrators too. So anyway, I'm very proud of what you all do, and thank you for continuing this legacy.
Thank you, Dr. Anna. Jeff, anything?
No, the same thing. I'm just really grateful and glad that that you invited us here to do this, and it's awesome that this kind of thing is continuing. I do want to put a challenge out there for all of you, that each PCN should never ever be the same, right? So you need to find ways to make it represent who it is that you are. You need to find ways to make it representative of your generation and what you're all about and what your values are. Because what we've seen and what we're hoping to kind of demonstrate is evolution and change. And so long as you can keep doing that, then PCN is always going to continue going strong, because it's always going to be something that you own and that you create and that you take into yourself, just like whatever around us.
Thank you, Jeff. Tracy, anything else? Parting words? No? Okay. So I guess that's it. I just want to close out with a quick share. This is my children. This is my PCN. We were at 2 summers ago, before COVID. Finally took my, she's now 13. My daughter, my son is 14, so 16. So I took them to the most beautiful, beautiful place in the Philippines, in the world. This is Coron, Palawan. So this is one of the pictures there. Here's a highlight of one of our scuba diving, or not scuba diving, snorkeling. But in the Philippines also, there's the Manila. This is like Venice of Manila here, the malls there. If you guys never been in the Philippines, it's like, I mean, amazing malls. And yes, they have even a skating rink in there. Then we had a reunion. This was my grandfather's memorial. He died in a Japanese war, fighting the Japanese. He's a local hero in the islands of Guimaras, which is in Iloilo. We were there for a whole month, and check this out. This is a picture of my kids' third cousins. These are third cousin. So when I went there, my second cousins, there was like 30 of us or so. Then my dad's generation, first cousin, these are the third cousins that we met up. So really finding out the roots, and right here where we grew up, it's right by the ocean, like literally steps. That's where my dad was born. So just leaving you of that, PCN continues beyond college, beyond, you know, I guess after college too, that continues. And as many of you guys are still young, you know, you guys can have families someday, and you know, go back to the Philippines. I think Tracy studied in the Philippines. I went to the Philippines right after college and taught environmental science. So it really brought us back, and that's like real PCN over there.
Right. When I went back to the Philippines for med school, I kicked all their butts in Pusoy Dos because of all the Pusoy Dos sessions in the comments from the FSU community. So that's what I learned from UCR.
And when I was there, I actually stayed at the provincial farms for like 6 months with my grandfather, like basically harvesting rice, or actually we were bought rice from the province. And I was telling Tracy, I never saw any of the traditional dances dance over there in 94, 95. What I saw was karaoke and Macarena. That's what they were dancing actually in the provinces, in the farmlands. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you so much to, you know, our original alum who, you know, hosted our first PCNs. If y'all don't mind, I'm going to invite Kenneth and Trisha to, you know, carry off of, especially what Jeff said, which is really powerful, which is like, no PCN should ever be the same, and, you know, evolutionary change through our PCNs. So Kenneth and Trisha will just quickly talk about what we're doing this year, you know, help explain to our members how we're kind of shifting and changing to accommodate the times.
Thanks, Kim. Really appreciate it. Hey, everyone. For those of y'all that don't know me, my name is Kenneth Chavez. I'm a fourth year in the current cultural chair for Kati. First off, thank you so much to the alumni for being here. Y'all are basically Trisha and I's predecessors, so thank you for setting the path to essentially like where we are today. To just go off what y'all said, I mean, we still do dances such as Maria Clara, rural, Tinikling. We still have like people of multiple ethnicities participating in our PCN as well. And of course, in non-COVID times, we did Hell Week until 3 a.m. And then of course, Tinix, dang, y'all can just speak for yourselves until what time y'all go into. But you know, it's just super awesome to know that we are still continuing those traditions that y'all have set for us. So on behalf of myself, Trisha and Kati, like, thank you. But on a different note, this year's PCN definitely is a turning point in Kati history, not only because of the global pandemic that has shifted our production online, but we wanted to do a lot of different changes in terms of like how the production is going to be set and hopefully impacting for future generations of Kati. So one of the biggest changes in Kati's Culture Night is in the shift from it being called the Filipino Culture Night to PACN, which is Filipino American Culture Night. And the biggest reason for this was not only because the other colleges across the UC and Cal State systems have already been doing it, but it was really important for us in Kati to highlight the importance of inclusivity and diversity among our members. So not only Filipinos, but those that identify as Filipino Americans, Filipinx, and even those that are not Filipinos in our organization, but yet still love its culture. So this school year, we learned that the nature of our culture night has an American culture behind it as well, due to us living in the United States, and it having an effect on the stories that we tell along with the dances that we do. That's why this was super important for Kati to finally make this change, right? And as small as it seems, just like, you know, it's just like a small name change, it really was like such an important landmark shift for all of us. Anyways, there are a lot more important changes, especially on Trisha's side, who's our cultural coordinator. So I will now pass it on to Trisha to talk about the changes that she made for PACN.
Thank you, Kenneth. Yes, hi everyone. I'm Trisha, the current cultural coordinator. And as Kenneth said, with this online PACN, we definitely had a lot of changes and had to think deeply about what our culture means to us as an organization. So throughout this entire year, we've been unlearning and learning a lot in regards to the indigenous cultures of Cordillera, Lumad, and Mindanao. And as a PACN board, we wanted to make a change and make our goal this year and for future PACNs to really center indigenous voices and focus more on our indigenous communities of today. So in the past, we've only used the dances of these indigenous cultures, but we really wanted to come together as an org and talk about the struggles indigenous communities back home like face today, the anti-indigeneity in Filipino, Fil-Am communities, and really listen to indigenous voices to learn more about their culture and who they are. So this online season, we've been doing a lot of workshops. I'm super proud of our PACN board for really going strong. And we feature guest speakers from different indigenous groups such as ICA and Liak Network. And we will really learn more about the cultures of the Philippines. And we try to do what we can for the communities back home, such as like typhoon relief, supporting like Lumad organizations. And we're really proud of the changes we're making and hope to pass this forward to future PACNs. Even when we are in person again, we hope to have Kati's indigenous members lead these suites in the future and share this culture with all of us and continue having these like really great conversations. But again, thank you all to the alumni here. You all really continue to inspire all of us. Without you, we really wouldn't be here today, like with your shared journey. And it's our 32nd PACN, still going strong. And we're still continuing like a lot of like this beautiful traditions there are here. But I'll pass it back to Kenneth to talk a little bit more about what we have this year.
Thanks, Trisha. So our 32nd PACN is titled The One That Got Away, and it's going to be projected to be premiering on YouTube Live, hopefully on May 22nd. So we will definitely let Cameron know to pass on more details to all of the alumni, because we would love to see y'all see the hard work that Kati has been putting amidst everything. So it will be a mix of a movie, musical, cultural dances, and of course the discussions that we've learned so far to further tell the story of our Filipino American roots. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and pass it back to Trisha.
Hope to see you all there, alumni, everyone. Thanks, Cam. Back to Cam.
Alrighty, and once more, if everyone doesn't mind unmuting, just like clap it up, cheers. Beautiful seeing our history, you know what I mean? Like these are, pictures, videos never before seen. Like we appreciate it so much. And I saw a member, I think Ray said that she wants to see if we can make a catalog. I'll try and work that out with our alum who shared those photos today. So hopefully we can get those copies and, maybe get them on our website so everyone can see, that is our history. And we as Katipunan have only been growing and building off of that history.
And I feel it would be a disservice to not fully acknowledge the BIPOC identities that we share. And just kind of a disclaimer that I'm not Filipino, I am Mexican American, so I can only speak through my experiential knowledge, but I do feel very close to the Filipino culture, and the Mexican and Filipino cultures, they do share very similar historical journeys. And I also wanted to acknowledge that identity can't be compartmentalized. It is completely intersectional. So with that, I remember the other day I was reflecting just kind of on my past and my past education in college, just based on the conversations that I was having in my social work classes. And I was considering about how UCR is the most diverse campus, but I was thinking about the professors that I had within the psychology department, and I realized that out of all of the professors I had, every single one of them was white. Now, the profession of psychology and social work are both professions that were created by white people, and they are predominantly white. But still, I felt disappointed, and I realized that the professionals who taught me didn't look like me, and they didn't have the same experiences that I was and would have as a woman of color navigating systems that often uphold the dominant white narrative. So as current students and future professionals, I urge you to critically analyze the institutions that you apply to, that you work for, and that you support. Because sometimes, oftentimes, the spaces that we occupy within the workforce are the first of its kind. And it is you who will be the one to make this space exist for others, for people who look like you. But that isn't to say that you don't have an entire community of professionals in similar professions to learn from and who are rooting for your success. And just the other day, actually, one of my professors who is Filipina, she spoke about how she had a meeting with her own mentor. And her mentor is a professor at USC, and she was one of the very first Filipinas to obtain a PhD in social work. And my professor spoke with like slight tears in her eyes about how she was so thankful to have her as a mentor and a role model for what it's like being a Filipino with a PhD. And after my professor shared that story, it really reaffirmed to me just how important it is to have representation in professional settings, and why spaces such as this conference are so essential as people of color. And we may have slightly different aspirations, but we all have a shared journey. And for those who are paving the first pathways into a profession, I see you and I support you, and I'm so proud of you. And your existence in dominant white spaces is the revolution. So as the conference comes to an end, I will leave you with a quote that has really stayed with me for many years. And it reads, "Walk like you have 3,000 ancestors walking behind you." And ancestors and alumni alike will always be there with you as you take on life's next journey and develop yourself into the professional that you aspire to be. Thank you.
Alrighty. Yes, once again, don't be afraid to unmute and just clap it out. Yep. Thank you so much, Marisa. That was very inspirational, and it's true. As a cultural org, we are all here, even if we're not Filipino, to, put ourselves out there and, make a footprint in predominantly white spaces, because we deserve to be heard, and we deserve to, get our voices and our thoughts and our beliefs out there. So I hope everyone was able to, take away something great from that. I hope you're all able to take away something great from the entire conference,